Welcome to the Swank Golf Podcast, a podcast for new golfers, old golfers, and everybody in between. I'm your host, Nadir, and on this podcast, we'll be discussing my journey and others by interviewing golfers of all skill sets that I know and that I meet along the way. All right, welcome to the Swank Golf Podcast. You know what we're here to do. We're here to talk shop. I got a real good guest today. This is Andrew Unthank, man. I played golf with this guy. Was introduced to him by my god brother Kurt, and he was like, "Hey, I'm bringing somebody by who can play the game," and here he is, man. Here he is.
Pleasure to be here, man. We've had a decent knowledge of each other over the years, rival high schools, but it's really good to get out on the golf course with you and get to know you a little better.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for coming to the show, and also too, you know, that day that we played. It was a quick 9-hole, you know, nothing too big, no holes that were too long, but I definitely got a chance to see your game, and I can tell that you've played it for a while. Maybe we can just jump off there and start from there. How long have you been playing, and when did you start?
Seriously playing since 2011. I played lacrosse in college, and I caddied in college, but didn't pick it up. Caddies had free rounds on Mondays. You could play at Wilmington Country Club. And I saw a lot of great players, but just didn't pick up the game bug. But you got paid a lot of money in tips. So I didn't really pick it up until after college playing lacrosse, where I was like, I don't want to play anymore. Body can't take it. But the game of golf was just a beautiful game that was just like, wow, this was a lot of fun.
Okay, cool. And you said that you caddied. How did you get into caddying?
One of my teammates at the University of Delaware was a member and wanted to say like, hey man, how do you get into caddying? I was trying to like look for a job a little bit. This was like 2008, so the financial crisis was kind of picking up. I was a junior and wanted to see like what I could learn from people who were so-called doing well off, so to say, at one of the top clubs in the Wilmington area. And he kind of put me in touch with the caddy master, who was like the kind of next to the pro, head pro there, and kind of got hooked summer of 2008 and 9.
Okay. So just for some of my listeners who might not know what a caddy is and like what is the job of a caddy? Maybe you can let us know that.
Oh, for sure. So a caddy, for those who may not have seen on television, you're carrying the bag for the golfer. Sometimes when you're first starting out as a young caddy, they want you to kind of just be quiet, let the player kind of pick their club, so to speak. But as you get a little bit more advanced with it, they're going to ask you, the player, especially guests, what club should I hit here? What's the actual green read? So you get to learn a little bit of tips from the older caddies who go out with you. And those guys, in some capacities, are on the Pro Tour or like the LPGA Tour. So I never did anything like that, but you learn a ton just about how the game is played, the etiquette, what's expected, what's like a slow play for people who are kind of jerks of guests. You learn from the older caddies, like you're further out ahead of them, so you can kind of make their ball either fluff it up or kind of make it a little bit worse of an actual lie for them, depending on how they treat you.
All right, so I know, you know, golf can be an intimidating sport. Coming in as a caddy, and at this time, have you before you started caddying, did you play before? Like, have you ever played before before you started caddying?
I took a lesson in like 6th or 7th grade, and I didn't take to it. I could hit the ball pretty good, and I took lessons at Rock Manor before they renovated it, and that just didn't stick. Tiger Woods was at his peak too, so it just didn't click. I did watch him, but it just didn't click.
Okay. So, you know, I asked that question because, you know, it's intimidating when you just show up to the course to play. You know, the first day on the job as a caddy, you know, how was that? Like, was that intimidating? Did you feel so that you had enough knowledge, even though they don't want you to speak early? How'd you feel walking into the clubhouse knowing that this was your first day on the job as a caddy?
Pretty nervous. You had to be there at like 6 a.m, and you might not get picked until like later in the afternoon. So you really got to like have a whole block of time just set away. And the older guys or the more experienced caddies who've been there longer are going to get the first bags that go out.
Right.
So when you're first off new, they're going to definitely give you somebody to get out so you experience what's actually happening. But definitely intimidated because you want to keep up.
Right.
They don't give you 2 bags right away. You're usually just starting out, carry 1. But
2 bags. Okay. I didn't even know that they did that.
Depending on where you are, what clubs, typically you'll see caddies carrying 2 bags.
Okay.
But in some capacity, especially on tour or like you'll see 1 caddy with 1 player. Okay. But typically in a club experience or a caddy like that, you'll see 1 guy carrying 2 bags.
Okay.
Or girl. Or girl.
Or girl. So right now, like, how often do you play now? Well, it's cold now.
It's cold now.
But during
the summer, I try to get like 15 rounds a summer.
Okay.
I've gotten to play with some like really solid players who play a lot and play junior golf.
Okay.
And they gave some good tips as to like, if you really want to be like a legit, you got to get at least 25 rounds a summer or like through a season.
Right.
Which is hard to get as not professional or not having like a lot of time to yourself. So it's definitely hard to get 15, but I try to get at least 10 to 15.
Okay. So, for a new golfer, someone who's never played before, what would you tell them, if they're trying to get in or, they want to dip their toe in, but they're a little nervous? What would you tell someone like that?
Just go do it. Just have fun. You get to learn a lot about yourself out there. You definitely will be very upset you won't be good right away. A lot of people who are very athletic, can do almost every sport, have a struggle time with golf. It's not one of those sports that can really like replicate anything.
Yeah.
Like each swing is different, and the biggest thing you got to try to do is square the face at impact.
Yeah.
which is hard to do.
Yeah,
it's just hard to do.
Yeah,
but just have fun. Go out there and play. You should have friends that encourage you.
Yeah. And
you don't want to be the slow, grumbly person on the golf course. Nobody likes that person.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, and you have to find out what golfer you are because.
Definitely.
Because like you said, you find out a lot of things about yourself, right? If you come in and you already know that you're a person who doesn't really handle adversity well, you're going to know that you're probably going to have a rough time. But then also, too, I can say one thing that I had an issue with is bad talking. Myself.
Yeah.
Like if I did something bad, it'll be in my head in the next shot, and I'm like, oh, why did I hit it like that? Oh, you suck, or something like that. But now I'm very mindful about what I say and how I say it to myself, or even just letting things roll off my back. Like I kind of don't even not care, but I don't put as much into it as I once did. And that whole you expect to be good. If you're good at other sports, you think that you're going to be good in this one. That's kind of how I approached it a little bit. But yeah, I was wrong. So, have you played courses on the West Coast as well as the East Coast?
The furthest west I recently did was TPC Scottsdale.
That's
last February. That was an incredible experience. We played it right after the TPC, the waste management tournament. So they had
all the stuff
stuff was still set up. Learned that they keep it up as long as it takes getting it up, as long as it takes getting it down.
Wow.
So it stays up majority of the time.
Okay.
So if you ever do play, try to play like a week or two after that event.
Okay.
Because the course will be in great shape. It's usually great weather. But I played in Florida, played in Maryland, Delaware, New York, Pennsylvania, Jersey.
Okay.
Trying to get all over it, and going to South Carolina, I think this May.
Okay, that should be real cool. And is that like a golf trip with a bunch of guys?
Yeah, there's a group of black guys. that we have a nice little golf community that a lot of us are two friends from college who played previously, and then others are college friends who kind of all commingled.
Okay.
Was our first trip last year, or my first trip with them last year. I think they had done one the year before, and they went to, if the course escapes me right now. In Florida, one of the TPCs in Florida, I believe. But trying to make it an annual thing, and I think that's really good. Is there's like a real resurgence of black golfers, not since like Tiger Woods kind of came onto the scene.
Right.
So it's really cool to see. Guys who do like East Side golf makes it, and all the other golf influencers like yourself here too, is make the game fun for us, and that's what community's about.
Yep, community. That's why I love it too, because it's more than just, when I'm out there, it might feel like it's just me versus the course, but the community that comes along with golf, whether it's the camaraderie on the course, if it's before, or even if it's talking shop, or going up to second swing. I'm the type of guy, I'll go into a golf shop and I'll talk to a sales rep for an hour.
Yeah.
And they'll, if I catch the right guy, it might be 2 hours if we're really vibing.
Each person's got a really unique story. Not to sound cliche, but if you're going to play this game, you got to be a little kind of nuts to do it, to spend 4 hours. So you probably got a good story. Yeah. Just being honest. So, I've met some very interesting people just being a single, going up to a course, public, just have the day to myself or the day off. Got paired with a couple people who just happen to be like really interesting people who do all types of things. So, and you get 4 hours. I think you get to really know someone for a good little bit, 3 to 4 hours, maybe 5. Hopefully not. But I mean, you get 4 hours with somebody. It's like a work thing a little bit, but more fun. But you really get a sense of who someone is.
Yeah, that's the truth there. All right, so we're fresh in 2025. I mean, what do you have any goals? Any golf goals for the year?
I'm trying to actually kind of set that right now. I want to definitely improve my ball speed. So there's these like swing weights that I want to buy.
Okay.
And just
stack.
Yeah, stack things. Yeah, and I'm trying to get from a 10 to, I'd like to get to a 5 this year.
Excuse me.
That's very tough, but I think it's definitely potentially doable.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'd like to get a hole in one. I haven't had one in my time playing yet. That's a goal, but possibly could never get it.
You never know. You never know. I ask because I have a goal, and I set goals with everything, and I have lists of everything that I have to check off, golf related and non-golf related. My big golf goal for this year is to really tame my driver. I feel like at the end of every round, I look at my scorecard and the driver is the culprit. And and a lot of people say short game and putting and chipping and all of those things. For me, it's like, even if I do have a bad putt or a bad chip, it's like these things are tough.
Yeah.
These things here are where we're supposed to get the most strokes, is the short game. So it's easier for me to accept that.
Yep.
Even though the driver is one of the hardest in the bag, I still feel like the work that I'm putting in, I should have mastered it by now, but not mastered it, but you understand what I'm saying. So I have a beef with my driver, and we're going to settle it in 2025. Let me ask you something. If you had to put together a golf trip with, a few, whoever, 4 other people, whatever, 2 other groups, whatever, where are you guys going? Where are you going? Where's the trip?
I would say I would like to do Bandon Dunes.
Okay.
The Dunes courses out in Oregon.
Okay.
They're link style. Here in the United States, at least. If we were going somewhere, I'd like to definitely check out some of the courses in Scotland. Definitely play St. Andrews.
From the videos I've seen, the weather looks terrible there.
It does.
Every video, it looks bad. Like the type of weather that I hate in golf, it seems like that's how you play golf. Apparently, windy, wet, wet,
all the time, and you just got to get the ball to go forward. I mean, don't got to hit it too much in the air, and I like more linksy golf and versus a lot of trees. But playing in fescue is really tough because you got to keep it out of the fescue.
Yeah, because I played a link style course down the beach. I don't know. It might have been Plantation Lakes. I don't know if that's.
I think I've heard of that. Yeah.
The fescue, man, it'll grab your club.
It's another game.
Grab the top. It grabs the middle of the shaft, and you got to muscle it out. So you want to stay away from the fescue. I learned that the hard way this summer.
I mean, there's. I always like this really quote, and it keeps the game very simple for me. Zach Johnson, multiple time winner. I think he's a 2-time Masters winner too.
Okay.
But he said there's 4 shots in golf. There's a good shot that's good, a good shot that ends up bad, a bad shot that's good, and a bad shot that ends up bad. So as long as you make good contact, however, you shouldn't be upset with where it lands.
Right. How often do you practice?
I do a lot of swing drills.
Okay.
Always have like a club in my hand, so to speak, but I don't necessarily hit go to like the simulator much.
Okay.
I not to sound any type of, but I have a swing that travels.
Okay.
So like I just have an idea of like what the club is doing.
Okay.
And if it's in that range and I know how to like kind of maneuver it, just set it and forget it. And when we play, as long as we get a decent little warm up, body's loose, ready to go.
I understand that. I recently started warming up less. I used to show up to the course. I'll be on the driving range for a full hour, hitting all of my clubs, like trying to get ready. And now I'm like, you're worn out and tired by the time the round starts. So now, I'll take like 3-4 clubs, hit them, make sure I'm hitting them solid.
I mean, look at the guys who are on the Pro Tour. Just watching some of those, they had the BMW a couple years ago here.
Yeah.
So got to watch a couple of I think the BMW is the 2 before the Tour Championship. So it's like the top 70 guys that year, and you're seeing them on the range, and the majority of the time, like they're on the putting green, chipping around at the chipping area.
Yeah.
Maybe a 30-minute, 25-minute session on the range or less. But just to your point, just knowing what your club is doing, you just got to go with it.
Yeah. Play with what you have that day is also something I learned. And it's a lot of lessons when you're out there. You're learning about the game, learning about yourself, and then how to adapt.
Constantly. Constantly. Each hole's different.
Each course is different. And in the conditions, you could play the same course over and over.
Each day is different.
Each day is different. The ball's going to fall in a different spot, and they're going to move the holes around, Let me ask you this, because I'm going to let you go soon. But, when you're gearing up for a round, let's say you're playing with some friends these guys are some better golfers. Like, what's your routine the night before? Like, you're playing a really nice course with some people, some sticks, some people who can really play. What are you doing the night before for prep?
Depends on if they want to grab a beer the night before. Depends. So if that group of people wants to grab a beer, we grabbing dinner or something like that, definitely keep it light. Mm-hmm. To that point, I played with a situation like that where the people were really good who can drink and roll out of bed and roll out. So, but not for myself. So, get to the range not too early, but make sure I get a good night's sleep, especially if they want to go out early.
Right.
And you can usually tee off, 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. something like that. But just try to make sure I'm loose, not having like an issue with my back or anything like that, or
the like legs. Stretch routine.
Not like so much a routine, but I do like a lot of like yoga. So yoga type stuff. So I'm kind of mixed that in. As long as the body's loose and elastic, we should be good to go, and just don't embarrass myself. And I'm asking how many strokes do I get? Because I definitely want the strokes.
I hear that.
Pause.
All right, now since we cleared that up. All right. All right. We're gonna let you go, but we got one more question for you.
Sure.
One more question. If I came to you today and was like, hey, I got a new club for you, any club, brand new, which club do you want? What is it?
You mean like irons, so to speak? If example.
If it is irons, we'll say irons, but everything else is one. One putter, one driver.
I would want a new 52 Vokey wedge Series 10.
Is there a grind? Do you know grind? Bounce? Any other specs you can get?
I would say I would want to get fitted. I mean, I've hit an M grind with the S6 that I have, but I'd like to change that up and get fitted for some new wedges to see what the best bounce or grind would be for my game where it is now.
All right. Well, hey, you never know. You might get one. I don't know.
There you go. We are in the new year.
This way, we got to put things out in the ether. You know, you got to just say it out loud, and then it might come. But yeah, man, look, I really appreciate you coming on. You know,
thank you for having me.
We got a couple more months of the cold months, but once the spring comes, we're definitely gonna get out there. We'd love to travel. I talked to Bob. I actually want to play up in New York somewhere.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Up there to play.
Definitely link up with Bob too up there. And there's a lot of courses on Long Island, Westchester, or even just like North Jersey. So
all right,
we can definitely figure that out.
Yeah, let's definitely do that. All right, well, that was another episode. I appreciate y'all. I'll see you on the next one.
Cheers.